Boys, there's 11 different divisions in the UFC. We have 3 women champions and 8 men champions. We're going to quickly rank from least exciting to the most exciting champion in every single division. You know, a lot of people say lightweight is the most entertaining division in the UFC. We have Islam Makhachev taking on Dustin Poirier this weekend. So we're going to see, is Islam going to be number 1 for the most entertaining champion on this list? I guess we'll find out. But you guys have to let me know in the comments below your guys' listing from least entertaining to the most entertaining. And while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe. We're on the goal to get to 500 subscribers. We're getting closer and closer each day. But with that being said, let's start this list off with, in my opinion, the most boring champion in the UFC currently. I would be extremely surprised if you guys don't all unanimously agree with this being at the lowest ranking. That's gonna be women's bantamweight division. Raquel Pennington, what can I say? Bantamweight has to be, right now at least, the worst division in the UFC, hands down. I don't think I really need that much of an explanation, but hopefully, you know, we have Kayla Harrison now in the bantamweight division. Hopefully she can bring some sort of life into that division. But that being said, let's keep moving on to the next champion. Now, this champion and the next one coming up honestly could switch places. Right now, in my opinion, I'm putting women's flyweight division Alexa Grasso in this position. Don't get me wrong, she does have a very fun fight style for women's MMA, but when we stack her up against the other champions on the list, unfortunately she comes in at the second worst on this tier list. Doesn't mean she's outright terrible, but someone has to go here. Unfortunately, Alexa Grasso going in this position. Going strictly off entertainment wise, we have to keep moving over into another women, all 3 women's in the bottom division. I don't think anyone would disagree with them being at the bottom 3, but obviously that leaves out women's strawweight division, Zhang Weili. Honestly, like I said, Weili and Grasso, they could switch positions. I think Weili is just slightly more entertaining than someone like Alexa Grasso as a champion. Weili, in my opinion, the more well-rounded fighter than Alexa Grasso, but both of them having good stand-up, good ground game. That being said, let's move over to the men division. I don't think anyone would be very surprised hearing that men's flyweight Alexandre Pantoja is, you know, the least exciting champion on this list. Stacking up against the rest of the champions, you know, unfortunately, he just has to go into this list. And I think mainly it has to do with, you know, the flyweight division not being that entertaining. You know, with flyweight, yes, they're way more technical. They're typically a lot faster, but that does lack a lot of like KO finishes. And in my opinion, I love seeing me some KO finishes. So you'll see by the end of this listing, there's a lot of KO artists on the top of this list. But that being said, right now, flyweight division, Pantoja, unfortunately, in my opinion at least, I would love to know if you guys agree with this, but Pantoja definitely the least exciting champion in all of the UFC men's champion. But let's keep moving on. Welterweight division, Leon Edwards. Now, you guys are probably wondering, but Leon had that crazy head kick knockout against Kamaru Usman, one of the best head kick knockouts of all time. Yes, I agree, but something that's been brought up time and time again is Leon Edwards is only as good as his opponent. So as a champion, if he's fighting like someone like a Colby Covington, perfect example. Colby Covington looked like shit in that fight. And because Leon Edwards likes to fight at the same level as his opponents, he looked like shit that night too. The only exception where it looked like he was taking someone's lunch money was the first fight against Bilal Muhammad. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I could definitely see it repeating itself into their second fight coming up. And I could 100% see Leon Edwards knocking out Bilal Muhammad. But you know, he needs to change his game up slightly, which is crazy to say because he's a champion of the world. But I hate the fact that he fights at the level of his competition. Perfect example. He can go from one fight where he can beat someone like a Kamaru Usman, pound for pound #1 fighter. I'm not even talking about their first fight. Even their second fight, he won through decision. So he can look amazing against the pound for pound best fighter. But then going up against someone like a Nate Diaz, you know, you would expect him to look 10 times better in that fight, considering the huge differences in Kamaru Usman and someone like a Nate Diaz. But yeah, because of that, because he doesn't necessarily look for the finish as much, since in my opinion, it's so annoying watching a Leon Edwards fight because like I said, just constantly fighting at the same level as his opponent. Yeah, entertainment wise, definitely not there for Leon Edwards. Let's keep moving over. This one, maybe a little bit controversial, but heavyweight division. You guys are probably thinking I'm crazy having the UFC GOAT so low on this list. But to be honest, you know, other than a few select fights, Jon Jones' record really isn't that entertaining fighting wise. And his fight for the heavyweight title against Cyril Gane, my opinion, wasn't all that entertaining, to be honest. Go back, rewatch that fight. Other than that like crazy fast guillotine choke, nothing that entertaining about it. Dominic Reyes, back and forth fight, but nothing like he looked bad in that fight. Same thing with Thiago Santos, didn't look that great in there. Anthony Smith, he did look really good against Anthony Smith, to be honest. You know, he doesn't have that many finishes, you know what I mean? And I'm not gonna lie, you don't need finish after finish after finish in order to be the most entertaining fighter. But when you're constantly going to decisions, some of them being very close decision wins, I don't think it's all that exciting, to be honest. The Gustafsson fight, probably his best fight out of all of these ones, the most entertaining. He's had a lot of highlight reel moments. My favorite being the guillotine choke over Lyoto Machida, just dropping him dead on the floor. But, you know, not the most entertaining, at least when it comes to the rest of these guys, because in my opinion, from this point on, the rest of these guys are extremely entertaining. And, you know, let's move over to, this might be a little bit controversial. You know, realistically, you could switch these two up, heavyweight and then now middleweight. Dricus du Plessis, this man, like it or not, he's very entertaining. The only reason why he's so high up is pretty much the complete opposite of Jon Jones. You know, this man constantly coming forward, constantly throwing, non-stop output. You think round after round after round that this guy's going to be gassed out, but he keeps coming forward. Technique-wise, not the greatest, but pure entertainment-wise, I think it's very entertaining. And Dricus right now, one of the least technical guys on this list, but what he lacks in like crisp technique, he makes up with just a fun fight style. And you know, while making this list, I try to go in order of who I would be more exciting watching them defend their belt against. Pretty much anyone. It doesn't matter who. Take away their aura, take away their personality, just their fight style alone. That's what I'm pretty much judging off of. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't really care that much for Jon Jones' fighting style. Take away all the shit going around, take away the GOAT status, take away all of his accomplishments. We're just going on strictly his style. And in my opinion, DDP is just a little bit more fun style-wise than Jon Jones. But with that being said, we have 4 more to go to. The top 4 most exciting champions in the UFC. And a lot of these can be switched out with each other. Again, my personal list. Let me know yours in the comments below. But right now, you know, his fight's coming up soon. Islam Makhachev, lightweight division. Pretty much every positive thing that I said about Jon Jones also equates to Islam Makhachev, except Islam Makhachev is constantly looking for that finish, unlike someone like Jon Jones. Jon Jones, you don't see him looking for the finish as much as someone like an Islam Makhachev. And going from someone who a lot of people are saying was a very undeserving champ, getting a title shot after fighting Bobby Green, you know, a lot of people were hating on Islam, saying he didn't deserve this title shot. But regardless of that, he has turned into one of the more entertaining fighters, especially in that lightweight division and just in general in the UFC. And yeah, when it comes to the first Volkanovski fight, the second one, when he won the belt over Oliveira, they were all very fun fights. There was practically no boring minutes in that fight, which is something you cannot say about some Jon Jones fights. There's definitely been some very boring moments in some of Jon Jones's fights. Maybe that's because he's had way more title defenses, but regardless, as of right now, I have Islam just right below the top 3. But with that being said, you guys can probably figure out who we have left. You're probably putting them in order in your head right now, but right now, in my opinion, moving up to the top 3, third most entertaining champion in the UFC, we have Ilia Topuria, the new featherweight champion. And yeah, in my opinion, pretty much the same thing when it comes to Islam Makhachev. Ilia Topuria does, you know, practically the same thing, but maybe just in reverse. You know, Islam's ground game is amazing. His striking is good. Flip it around, Ilia's ground game is good, his striking is amazing, plus he has dynamite in those hands. And like I said in the beginning of this video, I love seeing some knockouts. So the top 3 are a lot of heavy hitting knockout artists. And yeah, Ilia Topuria, as much as I hate him for what he did to my boy Volkanovski, you cannot deny this man has a fun fight style. He's very entertaining. Every single time he fights in the octagon, you know it's going to be a very fun, you know, contender of knockout of the night fight. For that reason, he broke into the top 3. Now, we have 2 more left. And, you know, for the rest of these, you can easily switch them around. But in my opinion, second place, just under number 1 by a very small margin, we have the light heavyweight champion, Alex Pereira. Now, you know, Maybe it's hella bias, but like I said, I love me some knockouts, and who else other than Alex Pereira, one of the most devastating knockout artists we have currently as champion. Think of it like this: every single time Alex Pereira has won the belt or defended the belt, he did so by KO or a TKO. This man is speedrunning into the Hall of Fame, and I'm 100% here for it. Alex Pereira, a few years ago, no one really knew him. Nowadays, some of people's favorite fighters, definitely one of my favorite fighters. Every single time he's fighting, I am extremely excited. You know, I'm trying so hard not to be biased. I'm trying so hard to strip people's aura away from them, strip people's accomplishments, and you know, Pereira, you take how he fights and you put it on some random fighter, I still think he would be top 2. He's just extremely fun, not necessarily the most technical, not the most well-rounded, but what he does have is crazy knockouts on his resume. And honestly, I think it's just going to keep building and building and building. I think we're going to see quite a few more highlight reel knockouts coming from Alex Pereira as champion. But that being said, we have one more guy left. You guys probably know who this is by now, but in my opinion, the undeniable most entertaining champion we have on this list is the bantamweight champion, Sean O'Malley. Purely fighting style wise, this man has everything you want as a champion, and in my opinion, there's no other champion that comes close to entertainment wise than Sean O'Malley when it comes to actually fighting. Does he have the most aura around him? Does he have the best press conferences? Does he have the best trash talking? No, not really, but what he does have is some crazy level striking. And when he does eventually face off with Merab, I would love to see how well he does with the wrestling. In my opinion, I think Sean O'Malley is getting crazily overlooked. Right now, I wouldn't be surprised if Sean O'Malley is a lot more well-rounded than we actually think. There hasn't been anyone able to repeatedly take down Sean O'Malley like Merab possibly could. And in my opinion, I think Sean O'Malley KOs Merab. And yeah, especially being at that bantamweight size, he's smaller than like an Alex Pereira, making him be able to move a whole lot faster, having a whole lot diversity in his kicks, and just fundamentally the way he can move around. That's why I'm putting him in that number 1 spot. I would love to know your guys' opinion on this list. In my opinion, like I said, there's no one other than Sean O'Malley who can be right now at that number 1 spot. Quickly just rewatching all of these guys' past few fights, no one moves around like Sean O'Malley. No one strikes like Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley has to be, right now at least, the most entertaining fighter in the UFC, not just the champions. And yeah, super fun list. Who knows, maybe if Islam can do some madness on Dustin Poirier this weekend, he can move up into that top 3 spot. But as of right now, we have him in the top 5, number 4. And you know, I really like this list. I think this is one of the better lists that I've done. And yeah, like I said, we're on that goal to hit 500 subscribers. We're getting closer and closer each day. So if you guys did enjoy this video, leave a like on this video so I know you guys are enjoying it. Subscribe with those post notifications turned on so you never miss any of my newest videos. And yeah, there's really not that much else left to say except for I will see you guys in my next video.